series was fixed. The series was fixed for the Kings.
After it went up 2-0, the NBA was fixing the series for the Kings.
Was that Bucher? Who said that again? Was it Rick Bucher? No, it wasn't Rick Bucher. It was someone who has a little bit more credibility than him. I can't remember who said
it. It might have been Bucher.
Maybe it was.
It might have been Bucher, but it was fixed. We were wondering.
JJ Redick, I believe, who said
it was JJ Redick.
And JJ was Warrior JJ fans Redick. Retweeting him left and right when he said they're not officiating it the right way. They're allowing it to be too physical. All right. But I loved Jason Jones of The Athletic in here. Jason,
I saw him shaking his head. Well, I got to bring Jay into the conversation. He knows what time it is.
We just talked, and I'd like to know what he thinks about the situation because he's impartial in the situation. We just watched game 2 of the playoff series. And I rewatched that game the other night, and they were unbelievably physical. They didn't get pushed around by the Warriors. I said, man, this is the way I need them to play all year long. All year long. This is a championship caliber brand of basketball because they were still able to score. They held the Warriors to 106 in that game. Davion was doing a really good job just making life difficult for Steph Curry. Nobody else was able to get off. I said, if they bring this type of game to this season, they can be a championship contender this upcoming season.
Are you asking me if I agree or
what'd you see? You might not even remember game 2 like that, but did you see that same type of thing in the first 2 games of the series? Did you see that type of play from them?
I wouldn't call it championship basketball, but I think they showed flashes of a team that could be physical and play defense at times over the course of the year. You'd see flashes of it. Mm-hmm. And, I just think the teams that are championship caliber do that 60-70% of the time. Mm-hmm. It's not kind of oh, wow, look, they had that game where they played really good defense.
Yeah.
And, you've got to do that. It's got to be the rarity when you don't do that. And you made a very good point about the game, too. Davion played a lot. Mm-hmm. Davion had an impact. We couldn't know. Davion barely played in game 7. Mm-hmm. So, you got to have guys out there willing to do that and give those guys minutes. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, in terms of like a champion, teams will show flashes. The good ones do it more times than not. And really, for me, for my liking, the Kings playing good defense over the most of a game was far too rare for them to be a championship caliber team. I said all year, the way they played defense most of the year, I'd be shocked if they had won a series. And they got to a game 7, but it's hard to win a series when you can't play defense solid 3 out of every 4.
I think the professor made a couple of great points right there. One, obviously, I think everyone agrees the Kings got to play that level of basketball more consistently on both ends of the floor. But you didn't use these words, but we always talk about growth in players. We need to see some growth in the coaching staff too. A lot of Kings fans, I think a lot of basketball people were left confused about Davion Mitchell's lack of play in Game 7 and how much seemed to change and fluctuate throughout the series. Now I'm all for making adjustments and doing different things like that. But I don't think it's revisionist history. And I actually think we talked about it that night on our way to the Golden One Center from the watch party after Game 6 was, Jay, after they took a unique approach to Game 6. It was basically we've got to survive this game. And if we got to go small, we're going to figure it out on the fly. We walking that mile to the Golden One Center was like, I don't know that that's going to work again. I don't think that was a formula to beat Golden State. I think it worked that night, and they're going to have to figure something else out for Game 7, when instead it felt like they kind of tried to do that again in Game 7, and it was obvious pretty early that wasn't going to work.
Yeah, and basketball folks, I know, they were all just dumbfounded by what they were doing in Game 7. I think we watched anyone who was in the building or watched that game, you saw about 5 minutes in, okay, Steph is going to try to win this by himself. Mm-hmm. And I said, he's going for one of those games. I said, you better do something with him right now. If you got to start swarming him, do not let Steph be the guy who comes out there and does what he does. And they just, that was one of the easiest 50-point games we'd seen in the playoffs. And I know a lot of basketball folks were just kind of going, what was that? You got a guy on the bench who are you going to stop Steph? No, but you have a guy on the bench who could at least maybe frustrate him. And it just seemed like you said, like you tried to run back parts of Game 6, and it just didn't happen for him.
Yeah. And these are things that hopefully this team, is learning from and uses as a learning experience. And I just, I like I said, I was just watching that game, both of those games, and I was like, damn, I don't think I had watched them since the season was over. And I was, watched other games throughout the season, and they look good. They, good team. I came away really impressed with that team from those two games, and then Game 4, Game 6, Game 5, and Game 7 got away from them. We also, it's not an excuse because he played, but we also tend to forget De'Aaron Fox broke his finger in that game, and they couldn't guard Fox to save their lives. But that's another aspect. So hopefully for this group, it's a learning experience, and they learn the lessons that they are capable of playing at a certain level, and to incorporate that into their regular season game, and have those, like you talked about, Jason, not be things that we can do. It's what we do. This is how we play. This is a part of who we are. So we'll see when the season starts if they learn that lesson.
Yeah, because for me with the Kings, the most probably infuriating stat was look at their defensive numbers in the last 5 minutes of the game. It's like, what are you doing for 43 minutes?
Yeah.
I don't want to hear about if you do your job for most of the game, no one's going to care because you're probably blowing teams out. But when you let teams hang around and you keep them in a game, you got to, that'll work against, the Orlando Magic sometime during the regular season. The Rock, you catch a team on the second of a back-to-back 3. You're going to get away with those playoff series. Like even De'Aaron said, it's different playing the same team 4, 5, 6, 7 games in a row. They know you, especially you draw a team that you see 4 or 5 times in a season when you throw in the preseason games. They know you. So I think for them going forward too, they're going to need Sabonis to unlock something different in the postseason. I mean, he's going to have to, figure something out. I talked to a lot of hoop guys, and they just said what they saw Looney do to him was what a lot of folks figured Looney would do to him in a postseason situation. So he's got to figure, whether it's him or the coaching staff, you've got to figure out some ways to where a team just can't, another big can't do that to him again. So, I mean, we'll see what, you had a whole off season, you got training camp coming up. Next month.
Yeah.
So, it's right here.
Yeah. Cool. You got some time to figure things out.
Jay, obviously we think really high of Sacramento and what they look like or could look like this year. One team I've struggled a bit with is your Los Angeles Lakers. Well, sorry, yours and Kenny's Los Angeles Lakers.
Wait, don't do that.
Yeah, okay, Kenny.
Don't listen to the media.
Come on home, Kenny. Come on.
Hell no. I'm already home.
Do you want to salute championship banners or division banners? Your choice is yours.
Hey man, I'm fine.
Come on home.
I'm fine.
Think about it. You love LA in general.
Yeah.
You like Luke Walton. You're tighter with Luke Walton probably than me.
Well, I mean, Luke is my boy. I like Luke.
Hey, I'm just saying, I won't hold it against you. Everyone else is going to talk bad about you. I won't.
Man, I swear, like I said, you got to watch out for the media. The media, they'll run with their narratives and they'll contort things a certain way. And you just got to be careful with the narrative.
Was that not you? You're paying homage.
I was flicking them off.
No, I'm sorry. There were no middle fingers in the picture that the D'Lo and KC account posted.
Yeah, because the media didn't want to show you that. I showed you what the media won't.
Can you answer Jason's question? Were you posing in front of a Los Angeles Lakers championship mural?
Flicking them off.
No, you weren't.
Yes.
No, there was no middle fingers in that picture.
The pictures are right there.
I mean, people just make stuff up. That's just wild.
Wild. Yeah.
I mean, and they do these things and they get mad because someone photographed it and posted it. I mean, hey, it's okay. All I know was that no one's ever I'm sorry.
See how the media will contort everything to fit their narrative.
The Purple and Gold podcast with JJ and KC. Come on,
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
Absolutely not.
Yo, come on, man. Give us your favorite Laker moment.
Every time they lose.
With that said, what is I feel like they're gonna begin the season a lot better than they did last year. But I can't quite get a feel. Like, are the Lakers? Do you feel are the Lakers championship contenders again?
I think they can be. I mean, like every other team in the NBA, a lot of it will come to health. I think them having that group together for a camp in a year is going to help them. But the West is going to be crazy. I mean, they got to the conference finals as a 7 seed. So I mean.
Yeah,
it's really going to come down to getting in matchups. But I think if they're healthy, I think they can't really be much worse than they were last year.
It feels like that's the story of the West. Health.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because I mean, Anthony Davis, we talk about this all the time. No one thinks it's going to happen, so the conversation never goes far. Anthony Davis, LeBron James, 70-plus games in that vicinity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, that Lakers team is tough to me. The same thing is true for the Los Angeles Clippers.
Yeah.
Phoenix is the one I can't figure out, but
yeah. I mean, I kind of chuckled at the Clipper Tyronn Lue saying after the season he had to tell Kawhi and Paul George how important the regular season really is. And it's like that explains to you why that team is that team and why that franchise is that franchise. Like, you got to go tell your two best players, hey, I know you guys, we've had issues, but could you at least try to, play some games? And guys don't get hurt on purpose. But I mean, I think of all the teams you mentioned, the Clippers have probably taken the most laissez-faire regular season approach because after the 2019 title, I think everyone just figured it doesn't matter if Kawhi plays, just get him ready for the playoffs.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
which we pointed out a couple of weeks ago, he actually got hurt in.
Right.
He was hurt during that title run.
And like I've told people, if the Warriors could have survived that last game, Toronto was in trouble. But I mean, the Warriors just didn't have enough players left. I mean, Kawhi was dragging that leg. I mean, he got the MVP, but the MVP of that clinching game was Fred VanVleet.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He had big games in the middle 3 games in Golden State too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think, I just think there's this. I know I have a friend of mine who's like I don't know what you call him. He's a guy from LA who hates the LA teams. So we call him weird, but like he roots for the Clippers only because they're not the Lakers. And he keeps on trying to convince all of our group chat that, you know what, wait till Kawhi gets to the playoffs though. I'm like, I've been hearing that since 2019.
Apparently Jason's in a group chat with Kenya Barris.
And I said the last time he finished the playoff run where he was healthy, he blew a 3-1 lead. If I remember, 2020.
Yeah, 3-1 lead. I mean, it was the bubble.
And that's why Pat Bev is one of the funniest people ever. He says the Lakers title doesn't count, but someone says, so what about your 3-1 lead you had that you blew? Did that not count?
No, nothing was real about the bubble.
Well, that's
what it is.
Well, I mean, that's debatable. I
disagree.
I'm not saying it's not valid. I'm not saying none of it is valid. It was just a completely different world than we've ever seen.
No,
it's nobody's fault. It's just is what it was.
The thing I always harp on is the Lakers were favored to win the title that year. They did. Like, to me, that it's not like some random team win it. It's not like the Phoenix Suns made the playoffs after winning 8 straight, having this horrible record and going on to win the NBA finals. The Lakers were favored to win. They did. LeBron might be doing a lot when he calls it the hardest championship ever, or the 2 most hard championships ever, counting the 73-win team. But
when things
you can't discount an NBA player who doesn't have access to strip clubs for an entire playoff run, how difficult that really is.
Well, it's a smidge bit more valid than
that Dodgers. Hey, take that patch off the side of your head, man.
Okay, whatever.
Hey, championship, man.
Whatever. What happened the last time? How the Giants doing this season?
Terrible. We need to fire our general manager. You sold us a lemon. You guys got a mole in there. That's what happened. You're far on out of here.
He's doing a fine job. I don't know what the complaint is. Aren't they in second place? That's pretty good. Aren't they ahead of schedule?
No, they're not. No,
Come
now they're
on,
bringing up
cut him some slack. I mean,
they're bringing up the best
7 more
pitcher
years or so of this, the Giants will be right where they need to be in about 7 to 10 years, I hope.
They're bringing up the best pitching prospect in the farm system to make his major league debut today. I'm not expecting anything. Where's Brian Sabian? Oh, actually, Brian Sabian's with the Yankees. I think we need to get him back. He used to get the
Brian's fine where he's at. He doesn't. He likes the East Coast. He's fine. Why would you want to bring Brian? What did he ever do? Why do you want to bring him back?
Oh, just won 3 championships.
Yeah, you don't want to bring him back. He's fine. He's fine. He doesn't even like Halloween colors, so he's cool.
Hey, I was
Giants, the perfect fall team, the pumpkin spice team.
Whatever they got to do to get me some rings.
Like what's that Sherbert jersey they be wearing?
That's kind of wild, Jay. That one always throws me off.
That Sherbert jersey
that
they wear.
Weird jersey I told you I didn't like.
The Giants?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Sherbert
city one. I'm not a big fan of that.
I don't like that.
Man, I'm not a big fan. We had a discussion earlier about the best point guard of all time. Steph Curry said he's number one. And I'm not going to argue with Steph Curry or anybody who thinks he's number one. I mean, he's earned that right where you can make an argument for it. I said I'd still go with Magic, but at the very least, and I think Magic's your guy, I'm pretty sure you go with Magic too. But do you think Steph has at least earned that right to be like, yeah, I can make an argument, a real argument that I'm the best point guard all time?
Yeah, he can make an argument. I mean, it's not like it's not a wild take. I mean, we've seen that he can average 8 and 9 assists, but he also can shoot and score in a way we've never seen anyone from that position. And he's really changed the way that position is. Now if your point guard can't, pull up and shoot, and be a threat offensively like that, you got a problem. Yeah. You mentioned the Lakers. One of the reasons why he struggled early last year because they had a point guard who couldn't shoot and didn't have other shooters around him. And now, pretty much, it's hard unless you're going to be a defensive guy only. It's hard to be a point guard who can't shoot. So and Magic is still probably I put him in that LeBron category in the sense that you can't really duplicate Magic in any, people have tried to create another 6'8", 6'9" point guard. You just can't duplicate Magic. I don't think you can do. When I say duplicate Steph, I mean guys can play like Steph. They won't be as good as him. You can play like him. You really can't play. You really can't go into a season, or you can't go into you get a blueprint of a team and say, you know what I would like? I'd like a 6'9" point guard who can also play center. Yeah, you're just not going to find him. You got to create those. The closest thing to it, to me, is LeBron. And I always, like I said, I'm biased and I admit it. Magic's going to be my number one point guard no matter what. 9 finals in 12 years. Won a championship as a rookie. Played center as a rookie. Won a chip. So I mean, that's always going to be my guy. But Steph is definitely up there. I mean, there's not many guys. You would just say with Magic, Oscar. I mean.
Who I thought you were going to say? I thought you were going to say Ben Simmons. I thought you were going to say that's part of the fascination with Ben Simmons is that he's 6'9", 6'10", or whatever he is, and you have a big dude playing that point guard position. He's essentially the size of Magic.
Yeah, but Magic love the game. So
no, I mean that's fair.
Yeah. But you're right. That is the fascination. That's what makes Ben fascinating. It's like, man, if you actually had some drive about you, you know what you could do. And I've probably said on here before. We heard stories at LSU of him kind of just being like that, like, oh yeah, whatever, okay, whatever, I'm cool. I just want to get to the league. So, but yeah, everyone, I think you're always going to search for that guy who's 6'8", 6'9", that front court player height, who's a legit point guard.
And to be honest with you, this is why it gets so convoluted when you talk about positions or whatever, because we didn't even mention this, but the reality of the situation is the best point guard of all time is probably LeBron James.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fine with that.
But he's never looked.
That's why he's the greatest player of all time.
I mean, it's debatable.
It absolutely is debatable.
But I say that to say he's not looked at as a point guard.
Not
and
at
he
all.
really is and he really is a point. You think about it, he really, everything you ask a point guard to do, LeBron does.
Yeah.
I think that's why D'Angelo. Remember during the playoff, they were like, as the point guard, he's like, "Don't call me that on this team. Don't call me that," because really, D'Angelo Russell is a spot up shooter who can also handle the ball on that team.
Look at what Jokic does.
Yeah,
James Harden. I mean, Russell Westbrook. All of those guys. I mean, Russell Westbrook is a point guard. So
yeah, and really, and that's what made, I think, those years for Denver trying to figure it out, because they were basically saying, "Hey, we're running a team through the center. Our center is the point man."
Mm-hmm.
And you had just never, you'd seen, I think with Jokic, you see what maybe might have happened with not the King Sabonis, but Papa Sabonis, had he got to the league young and healthy, where you got a guy who can do everything, but he's just 7'3".
Is there a player, and I don't want to lead the witness, so this is how I'm gonna phrase it. It's in outside of LeBron, of course. Is there a point guard in the league right now that reminds you of Magic?
Man, not off the top of my head, no.
The one,
you know who it is.
The one, and that we agreed upon. I feel like it's Tyrese.
Little Magic.
I feel like Tyrese might be the closest to a Magic Johnson type point guard that we've seen since Irvin.
Yeah, only if he were taller.
Yeah, he's not his size.
But I mean, you talk about charisma and just this natural born leader. Yeah. I mean, yeah. And
he's a pass first point guard, like Chris Paul.
You don't have a lot of those guys anymore. Yeah.
Right.
And to me, about Tyrese is even bigger is the impact he has in the locker room. That rookie year in Sacramento, when he got hurt, the team was like, we need Tyrese back. Like we need and he walked on the team with vets and he became the leader, or you can say a leader, however some of the coaches would have told you he was the leader. So, I mean, that's a good one. I was more thinking the, kind of like height, comp and all that. Because another guy who who I thought could have been like that was Lamar Odom.
Okay.
Lamar could have been a guy like that,
Lamar could do Rhode Island once he got
Lamar could do everything.
Yeah.
There really wasn't anything Lamar couldn't do. I mean, and then legit 6'10" would handle. I mean, you get these 6'10" guys who want to handle the ball. No, Lamar had actual handle. Pull up, facilitate, rebound. Yeah, he could do everything. So you get guys who, give you glimpses of it. But, I always say LeBron is Magic if Magic wanted to score way more. Because outside of that, you look at their number, the things they could do. Yeah, it's pretty close.
You wrote on something we've been talking about for months and are excited to watch. I believe it starts tonight, and that's Swamp Kings. It's the latest in the Untold series, which I guess you're the official reporter of, because we just talked about your Johnny Manziel one a week or so ago. Did you have the chance to preview this? What did you think of it? It's something we've been talking about for months. We're anxious to watch.
Yeah, I actually watched them all last month, and I enjoyed it. I understand kind of their idea of they didn't want to rehash Aaron Hernandez or make it all about Tim Tebow, but let's be real. When you want to learn about this team from that era,
those are the two starting points.
We want to hear all the salacious behind, we don't want to, I think they got some Brandon Spikes in there, Brandon Seiler, Tebow's in there, but the director said, I wrote about that. Tim didn't really want to be featured so much. But I mean, you think about that team, you think about what? Urban Meyer.
Yep.
Whether he was crazy or not, or just let these guys do whatever they wanted for 5 years. Think about Aaron Hernandez, obviously, for a lot of the wrong reasons.
Yep.
You think about Tim Tebow. Do you think about a gang of just like off the field things? And by the way, they won 2 championships.
Yeah, there's a ton of NFL players on that team.
Yeah, I mean, just watching it, you're going, my God, like Brandon Spikes came in and he had to wait for someone to get hurt to play.
Urban's in it, right?
Yeah, Urban's in it, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then, for me, some of the fascinating stuff was some of the workout footage where I'm sitting there going, some of this stuff can't be like legal, can it? I mean, or maybe it's not illegal, but maybe, in 2023 it would be ethical. I don't know if you want a guy doing, the Smith press while getting his arm slapped.
Yeah,
I
probably.
I don't think you want that. I don't think you want to have a drill where a guy gets down on the mat and his teammate's job is to do all he can and not to keep him on the mat. So it's like literally like two gators wrestling on the ground. And I don't know if you want to do that nowadays, but I think, a lot of people will enjoy it, but they're going to all say, come on, we got like one Aaron Hernandez story. Like,
okay.
We didn't get like, if you're going to do a 4-part series, shouldn't there like be a Hernandez, Pouncey brothers?
Hell yeah.
Like just like the nightlife. And I really wanted to know more about just like an episode of just like all about Tim Tebow existing in this world, this homeschooled kid who comes to Florida, and you drop him off in the middle of this. And the story of his commitment, actually, the show is pretty funny. How his phone died and Urban Meyer almost had a heart attack because Tim was supposed to tell him he was committing. And his phone died.
Maybe Tim's got his own thing coming up, and that's why he didn't want to be a major focal point.
Yeah, it makes sense. One of my buddies just tweeted me and said, he was like, man, these guys just all create their own content to try to change history. He's like, all of a sudden, Aaron Hernandez is just a player on the team. Aaron Hernandez was pretty damn good.
And sort of like Dr. Dre.
Well, yeah, Dr. Yeah, that Straight Outta Compton movie, it looks a little different than I remember. Like, there's a few, like, I think it was Jay. I think it was you. Someone retweeted the scene of
him leaving Suge.
No, what? Well, that. But someone tweeted the nothing but a G thing scene, and like, this is the greatest like propaganda moment in cinematic history, where Dre is trying to find the melody on the piano. Like, bro, no, you didn't. Like, you took the beat bar for bar. What the hell is this? And then Snoop walks up talking about, oh, Dre, that's fat. 1, 2, 3 into the 4. It's like, stop it. That's
what we do. If they do in Hollywood, they say it's based on a true story. It's not the actual story. I mean, there's a whole bunch of stuff, obviously I know I've studied and followed them, NWA, back and forth. There's a whole lot, I remember when the movie came out, JJ Fad was mad they weren't mentioned at all. And I think I was talking to someone where Cube was like, yeah, there's a whole lot of stuff we left out.
That was Dre's record, right? Was that Dre's record?
No, it was JJ Fad. No.
JJ Fad, that was Dre's record, right?
That was the song Supersonic.
Yeah. So Dre did that.
I forget who did it.
Oh, I thought
that was the record that gave them the money to do what they ended up doing.
Okay.
Yeah, the first hit on Ruthless was JJ Fad, not NWA.
Okay.
And so and I remember they were like, and then I guess Fab Five Freddy did a podcast where he said Ice Cube wrote JJ Fad's album, and they got on Instagram. Now Cube was there; he might have helped us, but he did not write our entire album. So, I mean, there's a whole bunch of stuff out there. The whole Dre Michelet situation just kind of didn't happen.
Adia Barnes didn't happen either.
Yeah, D Barnes didn't happen.
D Barnes. Yeah, D Barnes didn't happen. Yeah.
Yeah, it just was like, Dre went from like NWA to hanging out with Jimmy Iovine, real smooth transition.
They tried to cushion it a little bit with the parking violation, or the amount of times he got pulled over and ticketed and all of that. They tried to cushion. Dre wasn't an angel. He sped a lot.
He had some issues. He would drive really fast when he
used to drive fast. He got pulled over.
Yeah. So
he told the story. Just like Timbo gonna tell his story.
That's
so
facts,
I mean, let me get a chance to tell my story. I'm gonna change a lot of stuff.
That's every WWF documentary ever. They completely rewrite history to make them look good.
It's like how Hulk Hogan was never racist in any like documentary, and everyone liked
Andre the Giant was 700 pounds when he body slammed him.
Yeah, he gets bigger before you know it. Andre was a ton when when Hogan slammed him.
That
Like,
8'7" big mean nasty giant brother.
it's just crazy for us. Many people in the industry do not like Hulk Hogan. We have not gotten the why we all hate Hulk Hogan documentary. Like
the self-destruction of Hulkamania.
Yeah, I mean, like they did that to the Ultimate Warrior while he was still alive.
Right.
Like, what a lost soul. Meanwhile, Hogan drops N-bombs, and 2 years later, he's hosting WrestleMania. Like, oh, it's okay.
Yeah.
We forgive you, Hulk.
One of the great all-time Golden One Center moments was someone they during a commercial break, they were having fans do impersonations of wrestlers. And this was post video. And this guy starts doing an impression of Hulk Hogan, and the crowd booed. I don't mean like kind of booed. I mean Draymond Green game 2 inciting the crowd booed. Like they let his ass have it.
Yeah.
And it kills me too, because I've interacted with Hulk Hogan half a dozen times, and he was fantastic. But
he just didn't want his daughter dating one of us. That's all.
No.
That's what it
I mean, that is. I mean, people like that it doesn't make you racist. You just want your daughter to have a better life. You don't want her. You don't want her to struggle with all these questions and these looks. You're not a racist. You're looking out for both parties. You're looking out for both parties when you say stuff like that.
Oh, jeez.
Coming to the Athletic next week, the self-destruction of Hulkamania. Written by Jason Jones. Jay, we appreciate you every week, man. Thanks for carving out time for us.
All right, yeah, Kenny, your Laker jersey's in the mail.
I'm gonna send it right back. Send it right back. I ain't got no Laker jersey.
I want for the whole family, wifey, kids, everybody. You're gonna have a whole collection.
Film us throwing it on the ground.
Just quick question before we let Jay go. You got your notifications on for Kobe Day?
Well, I mean, that's a Nike thing. Come on, don't do that.
Okay. I was just asking, Jay.
I'm disgusted with the way they've done that. I'm like, to make the shoes and the gear limited, knowing how many people want it.
Yeah, it feels like they're doing that again.
Yeah, like Vanessa's not going to be happy about
it. Like I hope that's not true, but like the ones that I'm waiting for, those halos, those white ones, that it's a draw. And I'm like, wait a minute, I thought this. I'm not saying I didn't expect like a guarantee I was going to get them, but this is a draw.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
I ain't got a shot.
Yeah, I'm just like, I sat there when the other ones dropped, and my phone and I had my phone and my laptop ready. It kept freezing. I got stuck on the spinning circle. Yeah. I'm not doing that to myself again.
Appreciate you, Jay. Thanks, man.
All right, y'all. Take it easy.
That's our man Jason Jones of The Athletic right there. Always great stuff.